Hi everyone, hope everyone is well. In this video I'm going to give an overview of the different phases in my new game, Devil of a Job, Solitaire Print and Play Wargame. Now this is just one of the maps that you get in the game, one of the scenarios, it's one of the two bridges. There's another map as well, but I've just set this up just to really illustrate some of the key points. Now the turn sequence is split down into 7 phases. There are a couple of phases that you don't have to do every turn. It just sort of depends on the circumstances whether you'll play that phase or not. So, the first phase is the glider landing phase. And this is an example where you don't necessarily, once the gliders have landed, you don't have to do that phase again. In the glider landing phase, you're going to determine what happens to those gliders when they land. You've already worked out in the setup what turns the gliders land. They don't all land on turn number 1. They normally land somewhere between turn number 1 and maybe turn 5, something like that. So you've worked out all that already. So the glider phase is where you land your gliders, you roll to see what happens to the glider. In this example, all 3 gliders have landed. The second phase is then the player attacking phase. And this is where you have counters in the same zone as the enemy. So for example here, then you'll be rolling to determine what happens as a result of that combat. Then we're into the enemy action phase. And in this phase, the enemy will fight you back if you're still in combat with them. They also move in their phase, in their enemy action phase, and you determine if extra enemy reinforcements arrive from some of the key locations that are marked with a white arrow on the map. And if you're unlucky, there can be quite significant enemy reinforcements coming onto the board. Then we're into the bridge explosives phase. And again, once you've disarmed the explosives, you don't need to go through this phase again. In this phase, you're going to basically, when you're at the bridge, you're going to be able to determine whether you can disarm or remove the explosives that the Germans have set on the bridge. Again, if you're very unlucky, the Germans can blow the bridge in this particular phase, and then you're going to have to make your way across in this case, the canal, by water, by the boats. Then we're into the player movement phase, and this is where you'll be moving your units from one zone into another. And there's a reason, that's the reason the movement phase comes after the combat phase. Then the next phase is the remove disrupted counters. And again, you only use this if you've got disrupted counters on your counters. So for example, you might have a disrupted counter on this friendly airborne unit here. And this phase you can try and remove it. So you only use that if you've got them. And then finally, we're into the allied reinforcements phase. And in this phase, this is towards the end of the game. It's when you have control of the bridge, for example, and you're after turn number 8 on the turn track, and you're basically going to roll to determine if the reinforcements come onto the board thematically as a result of you holding the bridge. And then if that is successful, then that concludes the scenario playthrough. So of those 7 phases, a number of them you don't do every single turn, and a number of them you do go through, such as movement and combat and so forth. Now I do have a video that goes through each of those key phases in way more detail. This video I just wanted to give an overview to give you some sense of how those phases all work together. So please do go and check those videos out. They do go into much more detail how all the game mechanics work for each of those phases. I'd like to thank everyone for their support for the game, and thanks for watching as always. Thank you.